UFC Fight Night Baku, Rountree versus Hill is this upcoming weekend. I'm going to be giving my entire predictions and breakdown of the entirety of the card, starting from the very early prelim all the way to the big-time main event of Rountree versus Hill. So let's go ahead and start. Hamdi Abdul-Wahab versus Mo Usman is the first fight of the night. Heavyweights, the blobs going at it. Mo Usman, he's back. The great Mo Usman. Coming off his loss to the great Thomas Peterson. Hamdi Abdul-Wahab won his split decision against Jamal Pogues at the Saudi Arabia card after getting banned for steroids or suspended for steroids, and then he robbed Jamal Pogues. But I do think that he's going to win this fight against Mo Usman because I think he's bigger than Mo Usman. I think he's a better wrestler than Mo Usman, and I think Mo Usman's not very good, and he's also 36. And I think Hamdi Abdul-Wahab, he'll get preferential treatment if it goes to the judges because of who he is, you know. Look at his last name. I'm pretty sure he's, I don't remember exactly where he's from, but, you know, he's from that area. So I'm sure that he'll get the preferential treatment. You know, Usman's Nigerian, so I guess that kind of counts to some people, apparently. But I'm going to pick Hamdi Abdul-Wahab because I think if it gets to a close decision, he's getting it. Just a gut feeling. Moving on. Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum. So this was supposed to be Tagir Ulanbekov versus oh my god, I just had the worst brain fart. Kyogo Horiguchi, which I was really excited for because that was going to be a great fight, and I was really excited for him to come back to the UFC. And that's a really fun style matchup. But Azat's very good. His only loss is to Charles Johnson. He's 15-0 besides that loss. I think he's very decent. He hasn't been in the UFC for a while. I don't know if he's actually fought outside of the UFC since his last loss to Charles Johnson. But that's not a bad loss to have on your record. And Tagir Ulanbekov's fight against Clayton Carpenter was really close. It was really close. So I think Clayton Carpenter's good, though. So I'm not going to completely take it away from Tagir. And he's on a 3-fight win streak, and he is very decent, and he is ranked. And it's not like Azat's really on short notice. I mean, it's 6 weeks, 5 weeks notice when Horiguchi pulled out. So, you know, I'm going to pick Tagir. I think it's going to be a really good fight. I think it's going to be a really fun fight. Technical. I just think Tagir will slightly get the better of him. I think he's at that point in his career where it's all or nothing for him. And I think after he wins this fight, maybe they rebook the Horiguchi fight, or maybe they do another fight later, you know, higher up the rankings for Tagir. But I think this will be a fun fight. I think this will be a close fight. But I think that Tagir will just slightly get the better of him, to be brutally honest. That's what I'm going to say. I think he'll do better in the wrestling exchanges, but it's really going to... And I think he's better on the feet than Azat. I think he's better on the feet than Azat. So I'm going to pick Tagir. I think he'll kick his way to a decision, probably. Moving on. Irina Alekseeva versus Claudia Segula. This is ahead of Tagir Ulanbekov on the card for some reason. They both are coming off their losses to the great Melissa Mullins, who is the next fight on this card. Oh, wow. You know, the difference is Irina hasn't fought since she lost by decision to Melissa Mullins, which was over a year and a half ago. And Claudia, her last fight was towards the end of last year, which was her getting KO'd by Melissa Mullins. Now, even though she got KO'd by Melissa Mullins and Irina only got decisioned, and I think Claudia's terrible. She's 26. Actually, no, I'm picking Irina. Just go to the UFC website and look at their faces. That's what I'm judging this fight off of. There's nothing else to judge it off of. And you realize Claudia Segula is 6-2. Now Irina's 5-2. Get this. But Claudia got KO'd by Melissa Mullins. To get KO'd, it's pretty bad. And you look at her and you realize she's, let's just say she's better than Irina. And so that makes me think, maybe she's not very good. Irina's really ugly. So she's 34. She looks angry. She's been out for a while. I'm guessing that means that she's healthy. I don't think ring rust matters in a fight like this. It's not like the great Irina Alekseeva's got to get that. She's got to get her juice back. I'm going to pick her to win by decision. Moving on. Irina Alekseeva, to be exact. Now, moving on to the great Melissa Mullins, who had 2 wins over both of those fighters. Which camera is she looking at? You'll never know. Versus Daria Zelenska-Miakova. I'm going to pick Daria Zelenska-Miakova, and the reason I'm picking her is because her last loss was to Aline Perez. And I do think Aline Perez is not terrible. She's ranked, she's decent level, and I don't think Daria is very good, but I think that she's better than... Is she better than Melissa Mullins? Is she, though? I don't know who to pick. Fuck it, we're going. Melissa Mullins. Decision. She's going to get it done, and she's going to be on that big win streak. Hell yeah, Melissa Mullins era. Moving on. Ismail Naurdiev versus Jung Young Park. Ismail's back. He got a win over Bruno Silva in his last fight. Bruno Silva is nobody at this point. Like, he literally doesn't exist at this point. I think Jung Young Park is good enough to be a ranked middleweight. Now, Ismail Naurdiev obviously has the talent, and he's not bad, and he has potential. But I think the Iron Turtle is going to get it done. I think he wins this fight. I think he's going to implement his grappling more than Ismail does. I think the scrappy style of Jung Young Park, where he goes first, will be important here. And I think he wins this fight. I'm going to pick Jung Young Park. I like his win over Brad Tavares, even though it was close. Beating a guy like Brad Tavares, kind of at his own game, is actually pretty impressive. So I'm going to pick Jung Young Park in this one. And I'm honestly going to say by decision. I think all of these fights are probably going to end up being decisions. Maybe submission for Jung Young Park. Don't be shocked if that happens. Maybe one of the women's fight, Melissa Mullins, maybe she gets a great KO. But I don't know. I'm going to pick Jung Young Park in this one. I think he'll get this one done by decision, maybe a late submission I could see as well. Moving on. The Korean Mike Tyson versus Oban Elliott. That's all I'm going to call him because I know that I can't pronounce his first name. His last name is Ko. And it's kind of like KO, and it's actually kind of sick because he does literally look like Mike Tyson. He's built like Mike Tyson. And the sad thing is I think he's really good. And I feel bad because Oban Elliott should not be getting this type of matchup. He should be fighting much better opposition. And, he was supposed to fight, God, who was he booked against? That got canceled? I don't even remember. It wasn't a great opponent. Oh, it was Brahimaj on a fucking Apex card. Brahimaj was coming off a win over Mickey fucking Gall. Terrible matchmaking from the UFC against a guy who's 3-0. I do worry a little bit for Oban here. Because I think Ko is really decent. But I'm going to pick Oban. The long camp. Long camps can be bad, but I think for guys like Oban, I think it's good. He's young. I think he'll be okay in terms of condition. And the real thing with Oban is just kind of increasing his confidence, increasing his finishing ability is really it, and the instincts. And Oban understands how to win a decision. That's what I like about Oban Elliott, and I think that honestly might be the deciding factor in this fight. I think Ko is going to be searching for knockouts probably, and he's probably going to have a lot of fun, like a really fun striking style. But I think Oban's got a chin on him, and I think Oban's going to be able to implement his wrestling, and I think he's very good, and I think he'll be 4-0 in the UFC after this fight. And I think he deserves ranked opposition potentially if he wins this fight just because of the 4-fight winning streak. Maybe you get him against one more guy, and then you get him in ranked opposition. Maybe you get him next against Neil Magny. I think that makes perfect sense. And I think Oban Elliott will get it done. I think he'll keep it active, and I think he'll implement the grappling better than Ko will, and I think that he knows how to win a decision. He's been here, done that, and I think he'll be ready for the show. So I'm going to pick Oban Elliott in this one. And I'm actually going to pick him by submission. I'm going to pick Oban Elliott by submission. I'm going to say third round submission for Oban Elliott. Close fight. Maybe he loses the first round, gets dropped bad, comes back, wins the second round, implements grappling, holds him against the cage, third round submits him, gets a definitive win. Comes back, becomes 4-0 in the UFC, and then hopefully gets a Neil Magny matchup. Moving on. Muhammad Naimov. This is the main card, by the way. Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. This is a great fight. Great matchmaking here. Really happy with this fight. Both these guys actually fought on the Saudi Arabia card earlier this year. And Naimov beat Con Offley, who was the Contender Series finalist. Sorry, my quality's getting really bad here. He was the Contender Series finalist. And Bogdan Grad is a guy who, he goes to war. He went to war on the Contender Series. He's very decent. And he won by KO in his last fight. He's gritty. He's tough. I think he beats Muhammad Naimov, to be brutally honest. I think Naimov's good. But I really think that Bogdan Grad's very good. Like, I think Bogdan Grad's a real prospect. And I think that we've seen that Naimov isn't the greatest of fighters. Now, Con Offley's very good. But I think Bogdan Grad finishes Con Offley. So I'm picking Bogdan Grad in this one. And I'm actually going to say by KO. I think he does it again. I think he gets the first KO of the night. And I'm going to say in the second round, Bogdan Grad sleeps Muhammad Naimov, gets a big win in a big way, and really starts putting his name on the map at featherweight. Moving on, Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Mata. I think this is a pretty easy matchup for Nazim Sadikov. I think Nazim's very good, and he's got potential, and he's obviously he's well-rounded, he's got skill, and he's a very decent prospect. He's got dynamic striking, he's got talent, and he's gonna beat Nicholas Mata in this fight. Now, I think that he's a little overhyped. And I don't think Nicholas Mata is going to show that. I think he'll have his moments, of course. And I think Mata will land strikes and he'll look okay. But I think Sadikov, I think if they rush him next fight into somebody who's a little bit better, I could see him struggling. Because I think he's still really young in his game in terms of his experience in the cage. And I honestly just feel like, I don't know. I think Nazim could look better. I don't know. I have this weird feeling that I could see him getting fraud checked really soon. I don't think it's this one, but I think soon if they give him a bad matchup. But I'm going to say he wins this one. I think he is very good. I do think he has really good striking. He's dynamic. He's really well-rounded, and I think he'll do a decent job in any sort of grappling exchanges that we'll have here. I think he'll keep it on the feet. I think he'll throw spinning attacks. I think he'll try different things, and I think he'll show out a little bit more. And if this fight gets close, I'm picking the judges to pick him. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Nazim Sadikov in this one. He gets it done, gets another win in the UFC. Yep. All right, moving on. Ooh, so we're really getting to the meat and potatoes of this card here. I'm really excited about this. The final 4 fights on this card are great, and I'm excited for every single one of them. First up, Tafik Musayev versus Miktabek Orolbai. This is a fucking banger. This is a banger. Musayev is very good. We know this. He's 35, though, and he hasn't fought high-level competition. Miktabek Orolbai is coming off what was arguably the fight of the year against Mateusz Rebecki. And Rebecki's very good. I think Orolbai is going to win this fight. I think he's healthy now. He had no damage besides soft tissue damage in that eye. And he was, if you have not seen that fight, look up Miktabek Orolbai versus Mateusz Rebecki. Abu Dhabi of last year, October. Fight was fucking crazy, man. And I think Miktabek Orolbai is actually really good. I've been on the Orolbai train since he came into the UFC. And even though I think Tafik Musayev is very good, and I really do think he could beat Miktabek Orolbai, and I really don't want him to because I really want Miktabek Orolbai to win, and I want him to become a top contender at lightweight. He's still very young. He's only 27. He has a lot of potential that he can still reach, even if he loses to Tafik Musayev. But I think he gets this one done. I Miktabek Orolbai, when he's fighting, I think he's ready. And I think he's going to get this one done against Tafik. And I think Tafik might jump in and his, the competition difference is going to be grand. This is going to be one of the harder opponents he's ever fought, and I think Miktabek Orolbai is going to get it done. I'm really hoping he gets it done, so I'm kind of trying to manifest it. But I'm going to say he gets it done. I'm going to say he does it by decision. Moving on. Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. I hate that this fight is happening. Hate it. Hate every bit of it. It's complete disrespect to Curtis Blaydes. And he's going to win this fight. Curtis has been calling to strip John Jones. And that John is holding up the division. And people who defend John are being the assholes in comment sections like they usually are. And being like, man, CTE is so real. Because they think that his stutter, derived from CTE when it's a speech impediment that he's had. I would know, okay? I'm sure you guys can hear my little fucking lisp or fucking stuttering problems that I have every so often. Curtis Blaydes is great. He's a great heavyweight. He fought for an interim title in his last fight. And now he's fighting Rizvan Kuniev. Like, what the fuck is this, man? It's bullshit. And Rizvan Kuniev, his one good win came against Hanan Fajeda. And he was on fucking anabolic steroids for that fight. Literally on anabolic steroids. And he was on the Captain America shit. This dude was on crazy shit. All right? He was on he was on everything. All right? Curtis Blaydes is a top heavyweight contender for a reason. He's very good. This guy KO'd Jailton Almeida. While Jailton was shooting in on the takedown and had a double leg secured, Curtis just said, fuck you, after he was getting fucking dick grabbed by Jailton. Punched him in the side of the head so many times that Jailton got KO'd. And Curtis Blaydes is up here for a reason. I really fucking hope Rizvan is not on the sauce. If he shows up and he looks in good shape, because you'll see the difference. Look at his fight against Hanan Fajeda and look at his fight on the Contender Series. He was a fat mess on the Contender Series. Against Hanan Fajeda, he looked like big and muscular and in shape. And if he shows up and he is in really good shape, he is absolutely on steroids. The fact that this guy is getting let into the UFC and being constantly rebooked into this matchup with Curtis Blaydes over and over and over again. This is the third rebooking of this fight. This is his debut, and you're giving him Curtis Blaydes, and this guy tested just because he beat Hanan Fajeda, and he's coming off the Contender Series, and you guys just give this preferential treatment because his last name ends in a V. Fuck off, dude. Curtis Blades is winning this fucking fight. He's beating Rizvan Kuniev, and then you might as well cut the fucking fatty from the sport. God, moving on. That was the feature fight. Co-main event. Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Fireworks! Hallelujah! Praise the Lord, we have an amazing fight coming up, boys. This card's going to be sick, man. In terms of just the fights that we have, these are going to be great. And Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes is going to be an awesome, awesome fight. Both these guys go to war every time. Fiziev is fighting in his home country of Azerbaijan. He's fighting Ignacio. He's on a big win streak right now, and he just beat Jalen Turner by decision after his KO on the UFC no-check card. He's really good, and Ignacio could give him some trouble here, but I really do think that Rafael Fiziev wins this fight. He did get chinned by Justin Gaethje on that uppercut. He didn't get finished, of course, but he got rocked, and that was only 3.5 months ago. Like, that wasn't super long ago, and this fight took a second to get booked. I'm glad they got it done because this is his home country, and Fiziev deserves to fight in his home country. I'm glad he is. This is going to be a major size advantage for Ignacio now that I think about it. 7-inch height advantage for Ignacio. I worry for Fiziev, man. He's so good, and I just worry that he might lose to Ignacio. I really hope not. He might, though. He very well might lose to Ignacio Bahamondes. I like both of them, so no hate. I'm gonna pick Rafael Fiziev, though. From what I have seen, what I am led to believe is that Rafael Fiziev is better than Ignacio Bahamondes. Ignacio is lost. He's looked average in performances. Fiziev has put on 2 close decisions with Justin Gaethje that were both very, very tight. And this last one was on a 1.5 weeks notice. This time he has a full camp. He's fighting in his home country. And I think he's going to put on a hell of a masterclass, to be honest. And I think he's going to get back into the groove at lightweight with this win. And I would love to see him versus Gamrot in a rematch. I think that would be great if Fiziev wins this fight. But this is a fucking awesome fight. I think Fiziev will have success with the leg kicks. And I think he'll be able to immobilize Ignacio to an extent, which will be important because Ignacio is going to try, obviously, stay kind of on the back foot, and he's going to want to stay, waiting for, when he fights a guy like his height, like Jalen Turner, he wants to have more success in the real boxing exchanges, and that's what he did, and he was able to get the submission when Jalen Turner went down, and then he was able to get the triangle. I think it was a triangle choke. And when he's fighting a shorter guy, he's going to be focusing on the back foot, slip counter, but he's still going to exchange with Fiziev. I think Fiziev is going to throw a lot of mean kicks, and I think that's going to throw off Bahamondes a little bit. And I think he's going to be stronger than Bahamondes. This fight's going to stay on the feet. It's going to be great. Ignacio will be more active. I don't know. I think they're both going to be really active. I think Fiziev will take the front foot a little bit more. And I really think that's going to win him the fight. Really thinking about it, they're both going to be active. They're both going to be striking. But Fiziev's going to be the one on the front pedal. He's going to be one on the gas. And I think that's what's going to matter in this fight. So I'm going to pick Rafael Fiziev to get this one done. I'm going to say by decision, but it's going to be a really good fight. Moving on to the main event, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. Khalil got custom shorts. He's a legend. It's so weird to me. It's a really interesting fight to predict. I'm going to pull my mic closer. I'm going to lean back for this one because I'm really I've got to think about this. I'm just thinking. I really don't know what to say. Jamal Hill has shown now multiple times that he can be chinny. Getting KO'd by Pereira, who doesn't, whatever. And I don't think Khalil's performance against Pereira really is influencing my decision much. I'm purely thinking about the style matchup right now. And Hill has shown that he can be chinny. He took a lot of hard shots off Yuri. He originally got back into this fight camp for 3 months after that Yuri loss, where he took so much damage. And he's still coming back pretty soon. And this is more... Sorry. Right, this is more on Khalil Rountree's schedule. Jamal Hill was the one who pulled out last time, which is really concerning because he had the knee injury, and then he got KO'd, and then he tried to return really quickly, and then he had to pull out of the fight. Something got re-aggravated. And it could have been he got hit really hard and he got concussed. We don't know. At least I haven't heard why. It could have been the knee again. But either way, it's not a good sign coming into this camp. Rountree. Now, the issue is, I have seen Khalil Rountree lose to Martin Parachnio and Jacoby. And he robbed Jacoby. I've seen him get schooled. I've seen him have close to fights with Anthony Smith. It worries me because he was a good style matchup for Pereira. And that was the main thing. Of course, he was a good style matchup. That's why that fight ended up so entertaining, because he's the shorter guy, which gives Pereira a little bit more issues to worry about. He's got the KO power, and he knew that he had to blitz in. That's not going to be as successful against Jamal Hill. So he's going to kind of have to go back to being the normal Khalil Rountree. And the normal Khalil Rountree is not that crazy, guys. TikTok fans are all picking Khalil. And I know some guys are picking Khalil because of his last performance, and I completely understand. He still has a bunch of scarring tissue on his face, by the way, from that Pereira fight. I'm really debating, man. I really don't know who to pick here. Because, my mind is telling me Rountree. But in my gut somewhere, I'm thinking of people Jamal Hill beat. Now, the issue is, I was going to pick both of these guys to lose their next fights. So the fact that they got matched up with each other just, makes it harder on me, but I get that they wanted to rebook it. And this was supposed to be on International Fight Week last year, and now it's a year later, basically, that they're getting this fight done. Jamal's going to be more active, but I feel more confident in him getting chinned. I don't think he's going to finish Rountree. I don't think he's got the power to finish Rountree. I kind of see Rountree gassing, though. It's really a KO or not. I mean, that's really what you're debating right now. You're debating if Khalil gets a KO in the first 2 rounds, or if Jamal Hill outclasses him in a 5-round decision where he schools them in the striking. Or it could be boring. I could very well see that. Do I trust Khalil to KO Jamal Hill? That's the big question. Because I think that's the only way Khalil's going to win. It's going to be on the feet. I'm picking Jamal Hill. I'm picking Jamal Hill. I'm picking him. I never thought I'd say those words because I didn't pick him against Yuri. I didn't pick him against Pereira. And Jamal Hill's very good. And his win against Glover was very convenient, okay? We know it was convenient. It was an old Glover. It was a good chance for Hill. And it made sense. We haven't seen him win a fight since then. And the more I'm speaking, the more I'm talking myself out of it. But when I'm thinking of the styles, I just have a gut feeling that Khalil is going to go out there, and I think he's going to look like the old Khalil. He's going to look like the normal Khalil. He's not going to look like the one that we saw against Pereira. He's going to look like Khalil Rountree Jr., guys. And I think Jamal Hill's going to beat him. I think he's going to outstrike him. I think the time off was good. And I don't think Khalil's going to be blitzing in on Pereira the same way, like on Hill, the same way it was at Pereira. That was a completely different thing. That was for the style. That's not what this is. Khalil's going to be more tentative. Hill's not going to fall into those combinations like an Anthony Smith. Hill is really good at moving out of the way of strikes. And I think if he does that enough and he does it for long enough, the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill needs to settle into fights. And once he does, especially that he knows that it's a 5-rounder, I think he feels a lot more confident on the 5-round pace than Khalil Rountree does. I'm picking Jamal Hill by decision to get a win in Big 2025, and he beats Khalil Rountree in the main event of UFC Baku. That is all I've got for you today. Underdog pick for this weekend. Yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I will see you later.